And good morning. Good morning, Easter Sunday 2025. Good morning to Wellspring and everyone in Zoomland and those who watch us in the future. My name is Jean Geringer. I am part of your Sunday, April 20th, 2025 service team. Early Birds meets Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. I have been told this. I'm not a morning person, but I am sure it's the truth. Link is in the weekly email and on the website. Our speaker for today is Reverend Kamatara, who will be giving us a great message. And on 427, we will have Reverend Vicki Avery. Yes. Thursday evening group continues to meet at 7 o'clock here in the social hall or on Zoom. Get coordinates from either Cleona or Edward. Our May outing will be the New Horizons Band Concert Sunday, May 3rd at 3 p.m. at the Atkinson Recital Hall, NMSU. Admission is free. It's Sunday, so
No, it's Saturday.
Saturday, and it's at 3. Okay. So I don't know if that means parking is free or you have to go get,
No,
you don't.
there's no admission charge for the town,
Right, but parking at NMSU can get tricky.
not on a Saturday.
Okay. I'm just warning those who have not gotten caught in contributing to NMSU that way.
That's a good thing.
I have, after I attended a fantastic Tibetan event and came out to find a ticket on my car. Okay, and so that will not be your experience. Dinner is following that May outing at the Cattle Baron Restaurant. Tickets are now on sale for the Mesilla Valley Chorale concert, Swing into Spring, music of the 30s and 40s, Sunday, May 4th. Oh, fun music on May. 3 o'clock at the Rio Grande Theater, $10 admission. See Judy Bethman for tickets. The Labyrinth is slowly coming along. Thank you for those of you who have contributed the rocks. And please help by finding and bringing more rocks to line the pathway. You can bring them with or without a crust of dust on top. Rocks should be around 6 inches in diameter and put them in the pergola corner. Our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. You may submit a request via our webpage or give it to Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during this time. We know we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limits. Today's invocation. Through Source, we purposefully create a sacred space, here and now, in our Wellspring home. We ask that any energies present, which are not beneficial, be modified by Spirit, making them beneficial for all and everything, seen or unseen, in or entering this area. We ask for the presence of the divine for this gathering, whether we are here in person or remote. May Source, however each of us know it, however each of us call it, come to each of us and through us to all whom we encounter, and from them to all who they encounter, onward, and so to the entire world. And in this wave of divine energy, we are each lighted love, helping ignite that light in all and everything. Please stand if you are able for the Song of Joy.
I'll give you an introduction. Everywhere I look, I see God in everything. Deep inside and all around me, God in everything.
Thank you. Let us read together our vision, mission, and affirmation. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Our affirmation: I embrace the beauty and renewal of life, knowing that divine creativity flows through me. Every step I take is guided by Spirit, bringing clarity, peace, and purpose. I celebrate the gifts of transformation and trust in the unfolding of my highest good. And we have special music by Doug. I would say all his music is special.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you. Well, this is a song I get to do once a year that I wrote for a service here a couple years ago. It's called Springtime Again. The egg, the rabbit, the tortoise, the hare, a leaf on a branch that is green, that was bare. Soon all of the branches on all of the trees will be covered with green, and birds' nest and bees. bees that hum and birds that trill returned on their journey from the long winter's chill. Yes, they trill and they tweet and they chirp and they squawk and they flutter for cover at the sight of a hawk. Easter, Passover, the phoenix, Aphrodite, traditions and religions, some forgotten, some still mighty. We all harmonized with the earth and her spinning long before the time known as in the beginning. The stone is rolled away. There's an angel by the great cave. A flower sprouts from a cactus and out of a grave. And the lads still sing loud for their maidens fair, the glory of the girl with the flowers in her hair. And Aries wheels round and declares, I am number one in this procession. All return to life again. And the clouds play leapfrog, and the frogs pray for rain. And everyone knows that it's springtime again. And the clouds play leapfrog, and the frogs sing for rain. And everyone knows that it's springtime again.
As always, absolutely beautiful.
There's a switch more towards the up there you go.
I'm sorry, I think it's on.
Yes, it is now.
Oh. Okay, was it not on before? Huh, okay. The spirits are listening to that lovely song about the birds and everything. This morning in my morning meditation, which I always do outside, I was, of course, very still and felt a little bird land on my shoulder. And I had been still for quite some time. And I turned around to say, oh, how sweet, good morning to you. And I went, okay, well, thanks for being here. Okay. For our reading today, we had, let me bring it up. We had discussed some topics, Reverend Kamatara and I had come up with a reading. And then this morning she texted me and had just seen a reading from Reverend Bonnie that she had shared on her Facebook and wanted to include it rather. And it is absolutely beautiful, and we will. So where Reverend Bonnie got it from, we don't know, but I am sure it's from source. There's no doubt in my mind. Before the world called her a whore, before the church buried her story beneath centuries of shame. Mary Magdalene was the counterpart, not a follower, not a bystander, but the equal. The feminine frequency of Christ consciousness. While others scattered, she stayed. She wept at the tomb, waited in the silence, and became the first to behold the risen light. She witnessed the resurrection, felt it in her bones, heard her name spoken by the divine. And in that moment, the most sacred truth was revealed. Life is eternal. Love transcends form. The feminine was never secondary. She was the portal. Jesus may have carried the light, but Mary carried the remembrance, the knowing, the codes. The gospel that could never be written in ink because it was always meant to be felt. And maybe this is the real gospel, that death is not the end, that rising is real, that the divine lives within us, in our grief, in our devotion, in our return to truth. The resurrection wasn't a miracle for one man. It was a prophecy, a legacy for all of us. A call to remember that no part of you is ever truly lost. Not the parts that broke, not the parts that wandered, not the parts that were crucified by life. They rise as well. This Easter, I honor the Magdalene within all of us, the one who stays, the one who knows, the one who doesn't need a pulpit to be holy. And I honor the Christ, not just as a Savior, but as a mirror of what's possible when we embody love and die to all that is false. He rose, she remembered, and their story still loves in us. And I wish to follow with an excerpt from one of my favorite books, Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. And Anna is writing here about Easter morning, when Mary returned to the tomb and asking around to try to find Jesus, and finally realizing that the gardener was in fact his newly resurrected form. And as she ran to embrace him, Joshua raised his hand and said, "Not yet, my beloved Mary, for I have not stabilized the ascending frequencies in my body. I will be with you in this resurrected form for an indefinite period of time. There are yet many more levels of ascension through which I must pass. Much of this time you will meet me in the heavenly realms. You, Mary, who represent the Great Mother, still have an important work to do here on the earth plane. Together we shall prepare humanity to enter into and realize the way of the Christ. Although we will be together in our merged consciousness, you will be more focused on this side of the veil, and I on the other, just as we have done in so many times in so many other worlds. Let us be thankful that we have been given these years to walk together and in these wonderful bodies of flesh and bone. You are my beloved disciple, and into yours and John's care I give my blessed and beautiful mother. Now go tell my mother and the others what you have seen and heard." And then with great love, he smiled and gently passed by her, their fingertips almost touching. These were the words I, Anna, heard from Mary Magdalene when she returned to tell us the glad news of Joshua's full resurrection. And in the light of resurrection, as in this new age we are upon, the reuniting in a positive way of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and both of their wholeness, is very much a resurrection we are looking forward to and embracing. And on that note, I will call forward Reverend Kamatara.
Well, good morning, everyone. Wow, happy Easter. For those of you who celebrate, and yes, we're extra Jesus-y today, woo! But in such a beautiful, powerful way. And I love how Spirit stitches things together where, the song is perfect, and then the reading that Jean had already picked out meshed with the thing that I happened to see this morning from Bonnie, and I'm just like, woo! It's just beautiful. I love how Spirit just rises to meet us at every turn. So, and in the New Thought tradition, because I know in the spiritual community, some people identify as Christian and some people don't, which is fantastic. In fact, I do have to admit, okay, little side note, Vince and I went for my day job, Circles USA, this anti-poverty initiative. We went to Huntsville, Alabama, into the belly of the beast, whoo, in the deep south, to go to this very conservative Christian conference on anti-poverty work, which was very unique opportunity to offer excellent grace. Extra grace required. It was amazing. And what I love, EGR, and what I loved in that moment was being able to say to, some of the folks that were asking me questions, especially the CEO, like the big muckety muck there, like, well, where are you preaching on a Sunday? And do you talk about Jesus? And what Bible do you use? And all those fabulous things. And I said, well, I need you to understand the beautiful people whom I serve, that in our congregations, we have Christians and non-Christians. We have folks who identify as Jewish, folks who identify as maybe formerly Muslim. We have folks that are pagan. We have folks that are spiritual and not not religious people who are seeking and would never step foot in something that smacks of church. And we have people who are healing from the damage that may have been caused previously by church. And yes, it was delightful. We had a very good time together. And that relationship is still going, which is good because we are peacemakers in our love of all people. So yes, today is a bit Jesus-y, but what I love about, science of mind, unity, new thought, faith traditions, we view Jesus as a way shower. Ernest Holmes calls him the great example, a truth pointer. And that's what I want to get into today, fact versus truth. And you've maybe heard the phrase fact versus fiction when you're reading, fabulous historical fiction, which I love. That's a favorite genre of mine. Or history versus Hollywood when you watch fabulous movies that you're like, wow, that is not even close, but it was very entertaining. Okay. But also just looking at the news, ay de mi, or should I say, Dios míos. I don't even know, like you can get so buried and lost in what's being presented as facts. So one of the questions that I've really been sitting with is, well, what do I do when there's too many facts, I can't even process all of it, or there's contradicting facts, which is absolutely possible, or there's not enough facts. All of that is just a hot mess for me. So where do I go? What do I do? And that's when I turn to the truth that's in the center of it all. And for me, that's the meaning of John chapter 8, verse 32, where it says, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And Ernest Holmes shaped it just a little differently. He says, Let every thought of doubt vanish from my mind, that I may know the truth, and the truth may make me free. So I want you to take a moment to think about a time in your life when you learned something greater that entirely changed the facts of something you had once experienced. I bet that's happened a couple times for you. Just a couple. I think of one time when I was growing up, my dad was a school teacher, 7th grade English. So I don't know where I got it from. So he was teaching, and he'd come home from school, and he'd be in his comfy chair, and that was it. He was ensconced in the chair, smoking, drinking, food would be served to him. He'd watch TV and just pass out. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, my dad is so lazy. What is with this guy? And then I graduated from college when I was 21 and started teaching. I was a high school English teacher for about 25 years in my first career. And the very first day I was teaching, 21 years old, teaching high school English and theater and all the things. And I got home from my first full day of teaching, and I was destroyed. Physically, emotionally, I had nothing left. I felt like I got run over by a Mack truck. I just made my way to the couch, and I laid down, and I thought of my dad. And I just cried and cried and cried. And, feels. And I called him up when I was 21. And really thinking about him being in his 50s when I experienced him trying to keep up with 7th graders. And I called him up and I apologized. And I said, all these years, I have been thinking blah, blah, blah. And now I know this greater truth, that you are bringing it, that you are providing for our family, that you are throwing yourself out there. Wow. I saw the facts, but I didn't know the truth. And that's the story of Easter also. Easter reveals that while the facts may seem, especially around Easter, heavens to Betsy, the facts, which we'll put in air quotes, about Easter can seem really confusing, overwhelming, contradictory, and very final. But the truth of it, the truth of Easter is eternal, it's transcendent, it's transformative. So we're going to take just a small portion to look at that Easter story, to think about the facts of Good Friday versus the truth of Resurrection Sunday. I mean, the facts seem pretty darn final when you look at Good Friday, okay, crucifixion, death, he's dead, and that's a wrap. He's in the tomb, it's sealed, the stone is over it, and we're done. Okay, we're moving on down, that's it. It's over. But then we get the truth of Resurrection Sunday. Good Friday only spoke to the physical, but we have to get to Sunday to get to the eternal nature of our being, that Jesus' story was not over even in death. Like they said in the Bible, why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He is risen. And Charles Fillmore, so from Unity, founder, said Jesus was the type of man who demonstrated the power of the Christ in overcoming all errors, including death. Wow, to view that as an error is really an interesting thought. And so Jesus showed us that we are so much more than our physical bodies, that we are infinite expressions of the divine. And that's what has lived on these 2 millennia when people remember the truth of Jesus and his message and his love and his example and then live that. That is how we continue his work. That's how we rise again and again and again. And he even said, which I'll again put in air quotes, Jesus said, I tell you the truth, anyone who believes in me will do the same works that I have done, and even greater works than these. and Ernest Holmes, who wrote a lot about the Christian Bible and about Christianity. I learned a lot once I left the Christian church and was in Science of Mind. And then I could meet Jesus all over again for the first time. And so Ernest Holmes wrote, we should realize that Jesus was not talking about any particular age. He was not even talking about just himself. For over and over again, he said that what he did, we could do also, that what he was, we may become. And when we rise again, when we transcend the facts and get into truth and live our truth, that's where we're becoming the Christ. Ernest Holmes writes, it's also as though he were proclaiming, there is a presence within you that is already perfect. You need not worry over your previous mistakes, nor live in anxious anticipation of tomorrow, for all of that is unnecessary. All you have to do is learn to live right today. And when you do, previous mistakes will be blotted out and your future will be taken care of. Is that not a metaphysical interpretation of Jesus died for your sins? We talk about in Science of Mind that sins are errors or misalignment with the divine, that our past errors could be blotted out when we align again, when we rise again with the divine. And Ernest Holmes writes, but before this can happen, we must learn to live right today, because it is in this moment of time that we are to make the great decision. It is in this day in which we are now living that we must choose what path we are to follow. Shall we live in fear or in faith? Shall we live in confusion or in the peace that comes from a deep and abiding conviction that there is a power greater than we are that is ready, willing, and able to work for us, with us, as us? Because truth known is demonstrated. I love that phrase. I've never read that before from Ernest Holmes, and that blew me away. Truth known is demonstrated. We embody our truth. Or as Jesus said, it is done unto you as you believe. So the message with Easter, it's not just about Jesus rising, it's about the Christ in us rising into spiritual knowing, transcending the facts and showing us the truth of our divine nature. So let's shift now into our own personal resurrection, our own transcendence. Think right now, do you have some facts in your life right now that you are experiencing that could use some truth, that could use some transcendence? Are there some stones blocking you? Maybe there's some illness, lack, loneliness, anger, betrayal, overwhelm, sadness, or fear, or something else. And just holding on to that in the palm of your hand, I want to take a moment to honor that these facts are real. We do not deny things that are happening, not in this faith tradition. It's not a spiritual bypass. That is happening. It is real. And yet, the thing you may be experiencing is not the truth of who you are. This thing is happening. It's not who I am. All right, because there's a deeper spiritual truth beyond the physical appearance. So with whatever facts you might be experiencing now, can you also make the space for the facts and the truth at the same time? I think of Ram Dass, just to give you a really concrete example of facts versus truth, and can we make the space? When Ram Dass suffered his stroke, and I shouldn't even use the word suffer, when he experienced his stroke, the super vibrant, active, amazing, powerful, physical guy, and now he can hardly speak, and he's in a wheelchair, and he has to depend on a team of people taking care of him. And how devastating that could have been. That could have been the end of his story. End it right there. But no. But wait, there's more. because he spoke about when he could finally speak a bit, he spoke about that stroke being such a gift, such grace, a turning point in his life that brought him, of all people, a spiritual teacher, as profound as he was, he said that's when he got into a deeper spiritual understanding and a more compassionate perspective. And it was not a negative experience, but a catalyst for personal growth and a deeper connection with his soul. In fact, he described his stroke as a chance to practice dying to a certain identity and to settle into the silence. He said he learned to surf the silence and to be still in his wheelchair to demonstrate his ability to embrace the new reality that was presented to him by the stroke. And that he saw the stroke as another way to serve people, to connect more deeply with the experience of suffering and to relate to the suffering of others. He also viewed it as a way to honor his body and his brain rather than ignoring them as he had done before. And he said that it was a springboard to change his outlook on life and to share his perspective on aging and death. So powerful. And so I ask you again to think, as a spiritual practice for you this week, could you sit with some facts that may be troubling you right now and find out what is the truth in there? Can you transform the narrative? Can you roll away the stone and rise again with that? Ernest Holmes says, anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. So I ask you two questions. How are you with the indwelling God? What are you doing to be with the indwelling God? And what stones am I allowing to block my spiritual truth? Can I roll it away? And to just give you a little snapshot, before and after pictures, fact, truth. You can maybe do this with yourself. Play the little game at home. Fact, I'm broke, I have no money. Truth, all my needs are met in the divine. Fact, life has broken me, chewed me up, and spit me out. I'm being crucified right now. My last year, hello. Truth, I am whole in spirit. There's nothing wrong here. This is for my best and highest good. As we said in Fabulous Early Birds this morning, every person is a golden link in the chain of my good. That blew me away. Fact, I'm afraid. Truth, I live and move with the power of the divine. So think about it for you. Do you have a fact or a cluster of facts that you wish to transcend? And is there a statement that you could make to shift you from facts to your truth? And could you make it an affirmation? So for me, fact, I am really scared about the details related to my pending divorce and feel very stuck by it all. But I have my truth written on a card, an affirmation card, right where my computer screen is every morning that I see. And my affirmation says, I radiate courage as I move forward and illuminate the world around me with love. And it's not a spiritual bypass. It is not woo-woo. I'm not pretending that those things aren't happening, because they are. But this spiritual practice supports me to live from my truth. And then little by little, the facts, my lived reality, starts aligning with my truth. My fear has decreased substantially, and I'm not stuck in life. I know what I'm creating, and I'm taking steps, even just this weekend, to get there. The truth points the direction, and then the facts begin to align, and then I live my best life. So the principle here is that truth transcends fact when we claim our divine identity. We rise in the truth of our being. And it wouldn't be a talk if I didn't quote my favorite poet, John Rodell, so I'm just going for it. He writes, someday, all of your fractures will begin to glow and the empty spaces in you will burst into light, and your scars will become sunbeams, and you will find yourself rising up from the bathroom floor, and the darkness will never touch you again. And that's the resurrection that we experience. That's transcending the facts into the truth. And we get to make that choice every single day. So I'm going to close with a benediction from our Unity friends that I definitely adapted and put a little of my own touch into it. It says, "May the light of the risen Christ shine in you, as you, and through you. You are not the facts of your story. You are the truth of your being. Infinite Spirit, we roll away every stone of limitation. We open our hearts to the risen Christ within. We claim the eternal life, power, and peace that are already ours. We rise in consciousness and say yes to divine renewal, and we go forth in joy, for Christ is risen, and so are you." Namaste. So let's take this a little deeper into prayer while we're in prayer mode. And while we're going into this prayer, I ask you to remember that cluster of facts or that thing that you really wish to transcend in this moment and pull it forth in your hand, in your heart, in your knowing. And we're going to wrap the love of God around these facts to have it rise again into the truth of your being. And so holding these facts and knowing the truth, I state, there is but one loving source, the all that is, this thing that I choose to call God. And I know this something sacred going on is expressing as me, as you, as we, as us, as all of this. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it is the divine just waiting to be known and recognized. And the facts of Jesus' death and resurrection reminds us of the truth of who we are as infinite divine expressions of that one loving source. And so knowing that we have access to the infinite and to the love, I know that the facts that may be troubling us right now are surrounded by the light and love of the divine, and that they settle down, and anything that feels like consternation, frustration, overwhelm, sadness, grief, confusion, all of that disintegrates in the light and the love of the divine, in the infinite givingness and goodness of the divine. The truth comes forth in your heart to be known and held and lived, and the facts reorient themselves to the truth. And knowing that there is such relief and bounty and goodness and healing that happens as we fully embody the truth, and it sets us free. We rise and rise again in the truth of our being, knowing that we each are the place where God shows up in love, in wholeness, and in goodness. And remembering that truth for each other when we forget. And so I give thanks for this faith, for all the examples that were given in our lives and throughout history of our ancestors and the shoulders upon whose we stand. I give thanks for the spiritual community that Wellspring is such a blessing for ourselves and for this world as we go out and about into the world this week. I know that this truth carries through into our lives and touches so many people's hearts, that we all support each other to rise and rise again. So knowing that regardless of the physical facts or appearance, I know the truth that all is well, divinely guided, supported, and blessed. So I'm going to take this whole huge prayer, everything that was spoken and the things that were unspoken, and launch it out into the divine, knowing that God is truly on the job and that all is well. Please join me in saying, and so it is. Amen. Amen. All right, I think it's time for some special music, or is it time for special music? Okay, got that right. That's good. I'm going to change. I am going to help. I'm going to change my glasses and.
So, Reverend Kamatara told me about this great song by John Denver called Spring. So, we're going to do it.
We're just going to have fun with it. All right. Oh, yes. I did. But thank you for checking, because there would be a wild howl if I had not. Yes, ma'am. I am with you. All right. And if you know this, oh my gosh, please sing along. I just thought everyone knew this song because I love it so much. But I guess not. I'm just a John Denver junkie. So here we go.
3, 4. Open up your eyes and see the brand new day, the clear blue skies and brightly shining sun. Open up your ears and hear the breezes say, everything that's cold and gray is gone. Open up your hands and feel the rain come on down. Taste the wind and smell the flowers' sweet perfume. Open up your mind and let the light shine in. The earth has been reborn and life goes on. And do you see what's happening around you? Do your senses know the changes when they come? Can you see yourself reflected in the seasons? Can you understand the need to carry on? Writing on the tapestry of all there is to see, so many ways and oh so many things. Rejoicing in the differences, there's no one just like me, yet as different as we are, we're still the same. And oh, I love the life within me. I feel a part of everything I see. And oh, I love the life around me. A part of everything is here in me. A part of everything is here in me. A part of everything is here in me.
Let's give another round of applause for very special music. Doing well here?
Flip it towards you. There you go.
Okay. And a wonderful talk by Reverend Kamatara.
Yeah.
Let's show our appreciation. A absolutely wonderful talk. Yeah, beautiful. So let's pass the basket around and, okay. Well, yes, as a tithing church, we have given part of our first quarter tithes to the following. Mesilla Valley Hospice, $715. Yes. Action Program for Animals, $715. And Rebel Angel All Breed Animal Rescue, $360. Good. The board will decide where the remainder of the tithes will go at the May 13th meeting. And now it's time for Judy with the basket to come up and collect offerings.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
As we acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts, we give great thanks for the offerings already given and those we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the one flow. We affirm that we are also part of that flow. We bless these gifts and know they are multiplied throughout our community. Thank you. There are a number of folks who have contributed to the production of this service. We are grateful for all of your service. And we thank you for joining us in Zoom land today, here, and for all of us in the sanctuary. And lastly, stay around in the Zoom meeting after service to visit or join us in the social hall. Please stand if you are able and read with me the benediction followed by the congregational song.
Spirit
In the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.